What's up, y'all? It is another Sunday, and yes, another story time. Per usual, I'm going to break it down into 3 parts with a life lesson at the end, because life lessons, baby. Happiness is a hustle. It's a hustle for your happiness. And if you're looking for community, whether it's online or in person, we have a hybrid community that we have built just for dope people to connect, feel motivated, feel inspired. You can check out hioworld.com. We have different memberships. They start at free $99 because we're trying to start a community, okay? For this week's story, it involves my mom, Cynthia, so you already know it's going to be turned up. So here we go. Part 1. I was in college and I needed to transfer, and I needed an elective in order from a certain group in order to transfer. So I ended up taking this 100 level art class. Mind you, there were no prerequisites, no nothing. It was a basic elective. But the professor was like a typical pretentious art professor, and so he taught that class as though we were all art majors or were going to be art majors, and most of us were not. And so one of the things he would make us do is every week of the course we had to visit either a museum or an art installment, and he had to approve it. It'd be top shelf. It had to be like the Broad, LACMA, which again, I like going to these places, but imagine having to go to 12 to 16 of those places every week and write a paper on it. Okay, so at the time I was working, and I was working on the weekend, so it was just I don't know when I'm gonna find this time to do all of that. It was one time I had to drive around Pasadena and LA taking pictures of different styles of homes, right? Like mid-century, Spanish, Victorian, craftsman. It was a lot. So part 2, because I wasn't able to do all of this work every single week, I employed my mother, Cynthia, to help me, because she was retired. She wasn't doing nothing. She's retired court reporter for Los Angeles Superior Courts, okay, LA County. So she was also very thorough. One thing I knew was that Cynthia was going to get the tea. Whatever tea it was, she was going to get it for me. So I think she ended up visiting maybe 2 or 3 museums for me and taking pictures and writing notes about the description of the painting. So I was still writing the papers, okay? I wasn't using ChatGPT or nothing like that. We didn't have that back then. But she was just going to the museums for me. Part 3, in her going to these museums and art installments, she came across this artist, and his name escapes me, but I tried to look it up, but he's a sculptor. That was his main medium. And so really beautiful pieces. And he was having a showing, and I believe it was San Clemente. So it was fancy schmancy. And so when she had gone to one of these art installments, she had struck up this conversation with either his curator or manager or somebody, and got on this list. And the lady, of course, loved her some Cynthia. So she was like, yeah, girl, you should come to this installment. So we went, and when I tell you, that was the first time I had really gone to something like that with my mom, as an adult. So it was they had people coming around with hors d'oeuvres, hors d'oeuvres. That was the first time I ever had a lychee martini, because they just had it. And my mom was like, girl, go on. It was they had lamb, they had all kind of stuff. And so it was a really good time. It was a very cultured event, but one of my favorite parts of it was the artist. He was walking around with the pieces. And so my mom really loved his work. And so she was talking to him oh my gosh, I love your work. What's your inspiration? How long you been doing this, etc. But his wife was there with him. And she kept trying to be oh, he has to go do this other thing. He has to go do this other thing. But mind you, hey, Cynthia was in her bag. And so this man wanted to talk to her. So they talked probably much longer than he was supposed to, because then eventually the curator did come and be actually, we need you over here now. So he left. But it was a really good time, okay? And the lesson, for the week is, 1, it's okay to lean on your community to help you in certain instances. But 2, again, you never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. And so if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Cynthia, stay ready all the time. So she ain't got to get ready. Have a good week. Bye.